Welcome back to the Mainstreet podcast, guys. Today we're sitting here at the Fila India's office, also managed under Cravitex Brands Private Limited. We're sitting in there. Is this the stock room?
It's a showroom.
This is the showroom. It's a very, 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 very interesting workspace, and we've had the wonderful privilege to go through and see a lot of upcoming product and newer collections. And Fila's MD, Rohan Batra, is sitting right here with us in conversation. I think my first question, go to you, would be, until 3 months ago, I've said this multiple times to you, I did not know whether the brand was Phil's or Fila. But now I look at it as one of the coolest streetwear brands out in terms of sneaker culture and street fashion. Overall, I look at it as really cool. What is the big scale plan to convince the rest of the community of the same?
So Fila has been around since 1911. So it's not a young brand. Over 100 years, and we started in sportswear in the 70s. Really, that's when we started, and we started off with tennis, and that sort of paved the way for the next few decades of, great growth for the brand. Today the brand is quite large. I mean, we're at about $3 billion, so we're not insignificant.
Of course not.
The challenges in a country like India is bringing it in and building that awareness.
What kind of situation do you see, what kind of role do you see Fila playing there?
So I think the way we look at it is slightly different to maybe some other brands. We have a lot of flexibility. We're a licensee, so we have control over what products we bring in and what products we don't. So we take those decisions locally. We have access to everything in the world. We also have a different view where, when it comes to street fashion, I'm a big,
Enthusiast.
fan myself. I grew up in the 90s, so I have that connection. So for me personally, it's like I really want the scene to grow, and what can I do with the brands that I have to help that scene grow?
Can you just go back a little bit where you said you're a licensee? Can you explain that?
So the way that works is we have a deal with Fila where we have the right to design, source, manufacture, market and distribute the brand for all our territories.
So essentially, I think being the Middle East and the UK are extremely influential spaces in terms of the street fashion industry, and the fact that the power is so immense and that you're still so close to the ground and so close to the scene.
Yeah.
Grants so much more, so many more possibilities in terms of.
I think that stems from our sort of family business background. We're all product people. The way we set
this
up.
comes under Cravitex.
Yeah, so the Batra group, and then we have different companies within it. So, for example, in London, we do a bunch of different brands. Obviously, Fila is the largest one, but we have a cool little showroom in Shoreditch, which is the ex-Maharishi building. We're all fans. We all love the product. We're all from the scene. So, we've set up our product and supply chain to just support sort of the community. So we have a lot of cool guys working for us and cool connections.
Just last week you had Fila Week go down at Super Kicks.
Yeah.
What is the intent, impact?
So the idea came to us when we were sitting down with Super Kicks and making their selection for the season. And we had a couple of key product stories coming up. So we're dropping a couple of these products across all the sneaker retailers in the country. Fila Week was something that we felt that it would be a cool opportunity to work with a retailer and take over a space for a week. Super Kicks allowed us to do that. We dropped a couple of exclusive colorways over there. We've got a lot of cool activities happening, contests, stuff on a daily basis. Because we're quite flexible as a brand, we're allowed to do like all this stuff. So it was cool.
What are some of the most exciting silhouettes that Fila is introducing in the coming months?
So, biggest drop this year was the Mind Blower.
Of course.
We dropped it globally in April with a bunch of collabs. We just dropped it last month, and we've dropped a couple of exclusive colorways in different retailers as well. Mind Blower is amazing. It's a 95 reissue sort of.
It's a super
dad shoe. The other big one is we're dropping the Disruptor all white.
Disruptor all white.
Yeah, that's dropping soon. That's a big drop for us because we never had the all white Disruptor. I had to sort of go to war globally to try and get some of that quantity over here because they're selling like crazy all over the world.
It's a super cool shoe.
It's
And
amazing.
it takes that whole the dad shoe trend.
You know, the thing is
And
about
fits
all
right
of
in.
these silhouettes is like we have a museum in Italy which has the entire archive of all Fila product. And we had a meeting there last month, a couple of months ago, and I actually saw the original Disruptor, you know, from the 90s, and it's exactly the same. Like the outsole mold, the upper, everything is exactly the same. We've just reissued it and brought it back to the market, and it's amazing how the trend has sort of come back.
Fantastic. What else do you see Fila doing in this space over the next few months?
So we're working quite hard to make sure that we bring every global drop to India, and that India is not the place where you're like, oh, I can't get this, I can't get that. Obviously, that has some limitation. Like if you do like a local collaboration in another market and they're not allowed to sell abroad, that's different. But any product that's available globally, we want to bring that here. We want to bring it at the right price as well. We don't want to price out India. I realize that the scene is small, and
that's so true.
The
other brands don't realize this, but so many times, like modern culture drive, when they send a product here, it actually kills it further because their pricing is so ridiculous.
Yeah, and the other challenge is then you start forcing people to think of other ways to get product, and that sort of drives up the price as well. What you want is for people to have access. That's what we're trying to do. We bring in at sort of the right price point, what we feel is fair, and not try and stretch anyone. I mean, I know I have to buy all my own shoes from my own company, so.
Of course. Growing up, what are the brands that you liked wearing? The shoes that you liked wearing?
Nike. Since I was a kid, always big fan because of the technology, because of the way they approached footwear manufacturing, the way that they, came up.
Your original like personal streetwear style was like what? What did you dress?
So I remember my first like wild shoe was I bought a Vans skate shoe. Yeah, I bought it off price in London because I grew up in England. That was there, and I had a couple of pairs of Nikes early on. I've never really, when I was younger, I never really could afford a Jordan. I mean, from my pocket money, and I wasn't the kind of guy that would like buy me shoes. I'd be like, I want to get it myself. So I used to like kind of get the skate stuff.
Okay.
A Virex, Ewing.
Cool shoes.
Yeah, Vans.
So it was very.
It was mostly driven by that skate kind of culture.
Skater vibes.
Yeah.
And then clothing wise, what do you see Fila coming up with?
So we've got a couple of really cool collabs coming through this year. I can't talk about them now, but one insane streetwear only India drop.
I'm super excited.
That's going to be insane. We have an incredible line of heritage apparel. It's now pretty much available through most of our...
Explain heritage.
So within Fila, we have a sub-brand, kind of treated like a sub-brand, where we call it heritage, which is any style from our archive. So for example, the Bog BB1 polo, which is the original design from the 1970s, the pinstripe polo with the thin placket pop button. So that would fall part of heritage. Okay. So we're making all these heritage styles. Those are sort of the classics. They come under the white line, and then we have the black line, which is a bit more street, a bit more urban. Okay. So we have the entire white line and black line now available in India. It's really cool, and again, like at a decent, fair price.
Okay, cool. So within the streetwear zone and the sneaker zone, Fila's doing so much. At what point do you see it commercially take brand value aligned with, say, Adidas?
So I think it already adds commercial brand value to us.
Of course.
We see anything we do globally reflects back over here. We just did a really cool collab with Liam Hodges. Obviously, we did Gosha, which was something very close to my heart because it came out of the UK as well. So we look at some of these landmark collaborations. We have, we're going to be participating in Milan Fashion Week this year. First time a sportswear brand is taking on like a full ramp show. That's going to be amazing. Along with a museum set up in in Milan and
Oh
Corso
wow, that's
Como.
super exciting.
It's gonna be amazing.
Also, off the record, I was introduced to some of Spring Summer 19, and I was frankly very, very A, surprised and B, excited because I can't wait to get my hands on this stuff.
Yeah.
What is your plan? How do you plan to introduce this to the market? How do you plan to convince them?
So what we did was last year we soft launched. So we started working with certain retailers, online and offline, and started bringing in the products and trying to test where the market sits for this. This year we're probably going to roll out. Well, not probably. We are rolling out our own e-commerce.
Okay.
So that'll have some select
So
styles.
it's going to be a better website than Adidas is for sure. Because
Well,
Adidas' website is trash.
I mean,
Everybody knows this.
I've never used it, so
Fortunate
yeah.
for you. It's a trashy website. Like, please, Adidas, that's just it's unacceptable.
We'll,
I mean,
we'll attempt to do
you
a
have
better
that
job.
standard. Still, people head up there to cop the Yeezys and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
that's a very easy standard to cross.
So we'll try and get our e-commerce live.
So e-commerce is a
ASAP.
platform you.
But
you
what's
see.
really cool is we're opening a heritage store. So in Flora Fountain in Bombay, which is an old part of the city, we've got this heritage property, and actually the work has already begun. We're just gonna have like a little Fila boutique with only the heritage, mostly just the heritage products.
Oh, that's super
And
exciting.
that's gonna be like the home of heritage for us.
I think in terms of brand value, having a store of that magnitude and that kind of an appeal would be great.
Yeah, I
That's
think we're
super
going to be
exciting.
rolling out probably 1 or 2 of these specific heritage stores. Then in our top stores, as we increase our retail footprint, we'll have a heritage section.
Alright.
And obviously, we'll have the website, and then we'll be working with our retailers. The challenge will be we want to make everyone feel special. So, you know, we'll have something in our stores that you can't get elsewhere.
Okay.
We'll have something with our retailers that you maybe can't get in our stores.
And
So that we don't cannibalize, because we want everyone to sort of succeed.
do you see this grow more on the internet? Do you see the perception that like changed for me? Do you see it more grow e-commerce wise or through your heritage stores?
I don't think there's a distinction anymore. I think that that line is that there's no discrete line between the two anymore. So our store acts as an e-commerce portal. Our e-commerce portal acts as a way to the store. Our Instagram sort of acts as one of our main sales channels today for the heritage, because we post up a picture, we get hit up, where can I buy it? And we're like, you know, follow this link or go to this store or, you know.
And it works well.
It does. I don't think you can try and have too many discrete strategies for each one. You just sort of have to look at the consumer, because the consumer is not differentiating that, oh, I'm going to be an online guy or I'm going to be an offline
Fair
guy.
enough.
You know, it's just how he feels at the
you were
time.
telling me earlier about a footwear design studio you all are looking to pursue here. Tell me more about that.
So under Cravitex Brands, what we have is a platform in India where we do both. Sort of, we have 2 divisions. One is a wellness division where we do a whole bunch of wellness and fitness products, and we're one of the market leaders in that. But also we have the brands division where we're trying to incubate brands. So we have, under our group globally, we have about 7 or 8 brands, which we'll be adding over time. We're looking to get on new brands, global brands, as well as we're trying to create the first sort of apparel and footwear and accessories design studio in India where you're able to bring to market products. So we have young designers over here who actually work on our styles and are able to bring products to market.
I remember like you don't often see MD of 1,000 crore companies sourcing designers and hiring people off of Instagram.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think staying so close to the market means so much. Honestly, at least for me, like it's amazing to see something like that someone actually act this way.
I mean,
like,
it's cool because I mean, I can't pretend like I don't use Instagram, and when I see something cool,
you want to get
so one of our designers in here, I saw some of his work, and you know, I was like, yo, come work for me.
Slid in his DMs.
And like, yeah, I did. It was really
sliding,
creepy. It was really
sliding
creepy.
in the DMs.
I just sent him a DM saying,
recruitment
hey,
in 2018.
yeah,
Slided the
hey,
DMs.
come work for me. And like a couple of weeks later, he's out there right now designing shoes. And what's cool is that what I'm trying to do is create a small sort of group of very creative individuals who are all sort of working together in exchange for helping me come up with sort of the future plans for this business, I allow them opportunities that other companies probably don't. I come from a footwear sort of background, so I know that when you're a young designer, you come up, you go work for a large brand, they'll have you working in, either you're a pattern maker or something. You may be just doing, one component for a year before you move into something else. Here, I'll hire a guy fresh out of college and be like, design this range for me. And because we have such experienced people, and because I'm sort of from that background as well, working from the product development and supply chain side, we're able to sort of take the inspiration and bring products to market. So
that's actually super interesting.
As a product guy or as a brand guy or as a business guy, the number one feeling is if you walk down the road and you see someone wearing something that you made. So that if I can give that experience to enough young people in India, maybe it'll encourage that design community to grow. Today, there are not that many footwear designers.
Yeah, and it just gives so much more hope to people. Like, cause even for younger designers, it's just like when they design, it's so like building castles in the air. They don't know, none of them actually see it as potential.
Yeah, design is actually a very rigorous process.
I can imagine.
It's very technical. You have to know. So that's why we involve our designers in product pricing meetings. In sales meetings, we show them sell-through reports and stuff like that, because that's how you connect. Right? Did this design work for me in the market? It may look good to me, but did it look good to 1 million people or 3 million people or 5,000 people?
I mean, for me, like at 19 years old, like I pretty much source everything for my life off of Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, so it's fantastic to see this kind of a raw approach to design, to product development in general. I think it's working wonders for Fila right now.
We have a great leader of the design team. He's very experienced, so he provides that kind of. So our senior management team is all very experienced, and they provide that sort of guiding hand and structure. But then everybody else is really young. So our whole marketing, brand, design, everyone who works around that is sub 30 or.
Okay. Yeah. And tell me the story of how you guys came about having the Fila license.
It's a really long story because it started in 1983. When my dad and my uncle, my chacha, they were both pro tennis players, and they decided to start the first sportswear brand in the country, and because they didn't have access to any good sportswear. And when they were growing up, they used to see a lot of Beyond Borg, and they actually owned the BB1 Polo, one each. And it was like an iconic garment for tennis players. And sort of that began our journey into sportswear. We started getting it, and then we were always, my chacha was always like, I want to supply to Fila. And then he used to sit outside the MD's office in Italy, next to a guy who wanted to, develop shoes for Fila. And together, one of them now owns the brand, Gene, who's the other guy. So he bought the brand in 2004.
He bought Fila?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, our association with Fila goes back a really long way. We started off with supplying them apparel, took over as licensees, and then sort of now we act as licensees, and also we design and develop and sell pretty much all the global heritage apparel for Fila. So whether if you see it in Selfridges or Macy's or in Atmos or in Beams or something, it's been designed, developed. Most of it is designed, developed by us, yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. So Fila is, especially from this fashion point of view, most Fila products in India are available at what kind of retailers?
So our heritage range in footwear, I mean, we have some slides which are lower price, but generally everything is about 5,000 to, I think our most expensive shoe is 14,000 rupees.
Okay.
And that's like a Grant Hill reissue, Primo leather.
Yeah, it's a fancy
basketball shoe. That'll be dropping for Q4. But our sort of ASP is about 7,000-8,000. We don't try and push anyone beyond that. And in apparel, about 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 rupees. We try and keep it, very, very cool and affordable as well. Because I mean, there's a premium you pay for good design, but there's also a lot of goodwill that you lose sometimes if you price yourself out of a market.
This is true. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this with me.
No worries.
It means the absolute world. We're so excited to see Fila come up, and we're so excited to have them include us here and allow us to be a part of this movement and take this forefront here. And Fila can be, all Fila apparel and shoes can be now purchased at Super Kicks India.
Super Kicks, veg, non-veg,
Veg,
Cooves,
non-veg,
Mintra.
Cooves, Mintra, very soon at the
our
Mainstreet
Heritage,
Marketplace.
and very
Very
soon
soon at the Mainstreet Marketplace and the Heritage stores
Yeah.
nationwide.
Yeah.
But I think with that we come to the end of another very interesting conversation.
Cool, man.
That's Fila for y'all. Thank you so much for watching.
a lot.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
All right,
Awesome.
thanks.
Thank you.